let's see. As far as recap is concerned, Tsume spent some time in Dreamland, apparently. And, there she met up with Io, who was... It was determined that she was Mitsu's sister. And, while sort of exploring the dreamscape world, she realized more of what it was and what was going on, and confronted Io about it, and now has determined that she is going to try to save Io, who is trapped in this dreamscape world, and has been since the dreamscape world was created in the first place.
Which has no idea how long it's been.
Nope. But at the time you see her in the dreamscape world, Io is what appears to be 8 years old. Was it? You did see the picture of Io and Mitsu, right?
Yep.
So, from that picture, you would know that Mitsu is actually older than Io, which means that Io here is Mitsu's little sister. But even with that, you don't know how long it's been, because
Mitsu is older looking. Not her.
Mitsu is got some shenanigans going on when it comes to her apparent age.
No, she could actually be like 100 years old.
That would, yeah. Technically she could make it that far, but I'm not going to push it that far because that would mean Io is gone.
Okay.
Her body wouldn't last that long. Now granted, it has been a good number of years compared to what it theoretically should have been. But still. So, we open up this session, I think, with, I'm actually going to put you on the Dreamscape map. Okay. I forgot I moved you to the other one.
Flowers.
Yes, flowers. Because the Dreamscape world has a field of flowers.
Didn't we leave off with Tsume actually doing quadruped mode and she actually looks like a tiger being?
Yes.
And has a tail?
Yes. I don't know if we want to follow up right from that point or sort of move on ahead, but it was clear that, Io enjoys your transformation. She's not scared by it at all. Not like you would assume a girl her age would be. So, did you want to do anything with it yourself? With you actually having a tiger form?
No. Not really.
Okay. So, we'll then skip ahead just a little bit, and you probably had some sort of discussion with Io saying that you were going to try to find your way out of the little Dreamscape world thing. Which...
Now, there's a plan. Try to get out of it.
Right. And Io's basically, well, most of the time, people just leave. I don't know if there's a way to make yourself leave, or sometimes it just happens. And then sometimes they come back, and sometimes they don't. But you really do want to try to leave.
Well, yeah, I haven't made a promise.
I hope it all goes well. I don't even know what's
a lot of things going on.
Yeah.
So Tsume's sitting there she has like a physical thinking face on.
Io sort of she does that like half smile thing, but it's not really a full on smile, and then she just sort of slowly wanders her way over here.
Hey, where are you going?
Well, if you want to leave, then you don't need your house.
Did you say we could control things inside the house?
Well, if you spend any kind of time there, yeah, you can.
Might we spend a tiny bit of time?
Her face brightens, and she's, yeah, of course.
Yeah, I want to try to do something. And she continues on over to that house and goes inside.
Inside you see a very blank room. It's sort of somewhere between off-white and tan. And there's a small bed cot very similar to the ones that you found when you were in Mitsu's lair before. And other than that, the room's empty. It has a little side table with nothing on it. And then, seeing you walk inside, Io sort of follows you for a second. And then she sees the little bedside table with nothing on it. And she, you want a flower? I can bring you a flower. Off she goes to get a flower.
So she's gonna sit there and jump to it. She's just gonna plop herself down and next to the table, just table with, just sit there and facing it. And she's gonna sit there and stare at the blank top of it and concentrate. She's trying to make something clear.
Okay.
I do have concentration skill, by the way.
Concentration skill, which you have no rank then, but you do have it.
I have the +3 in it.
Right, from wisdom.
It's con.
Is it con? Oh, it is con, you're right.
Concentration is con.
I always found that weird. Anyway. It's only weird because it's the only skill that uses con. Okay, so roll d20 +3 for concentration.
15.
Okay, so is there something particular you're trying to make
She's
then?
trying to make a picture of her family here. Of her mom, her, and her brother, and the kitty cats. Kitty cats.
And so you're just sort of focusing on your family and trying to call for it?
Well, it's just, she sat there and shared a picture of her and Mitsu, so...
Right.
Her turn to show a picture of him.
Would you say that a picture like that that you're looking for actually exists? Somewhere?
Most likely.
Like with tigers and all?
Most likely. But I think Tsume would actually be, a lot younger.
Right,
So
exactly. So if it was the whole family together, including tigers, it would be when you were all much younger.
Yes.
Okay.
It would be before Shira disappeared.
Right. Alright. So you concentrate on that, and then by the time Io comes back with the flowers and a pot, which, by the way, she didn't go. You were really focusing on the table, so you're not entirely sure where she got the pot from. But she could have went to her house, got it, came back for all you know. But she has a pot with her, and she comes in to your room, seeing you stare at the table as the small little picture does, in fact, come forth.
Ah! Did it!
She smiles and looks at the pictures, or at the picture, and she's, your family, I guess.
Yes, that is my mom. And she like takes a picture and she starts pointing at it. It's like, that's my mom, and that's my brother. That is me. Those are kitty cat family cats.
Your family cats look like tigers.
They are tigers.
Oh. That explains that. And she looks at your still tiger-like transformation you got going on.
Oh yeah, I did tell this one before. I think Tsume is actually going to drop out of that.
Okay, yeah. Which is...
Yeah, she knows, like, the tail is still coming down, like, somehow the damage that hits her in the back of the head, like, oh, right, yeah.
And all she has to do is cancel quadruped, and it's going to, so...
Go!
Well, here's your flower. And she hands you a vase of flower.
And Chid takes it and smiles and sets the flower next to the picture.
Okay. And Io just sort of stands there awkwardly.
I'm trying to think of some character. I'm trying to think of what in my head, like, play a game. I'm just trying to think.
What can you do, what?
Oh, like, I'm sitting here trying to think, okay, what kind of game would Tsume play? She probably would, I don't know, play a game of character, so it's not so awkward.
Well, Sume's trying to think of, like, if Tsume is actually trying to think, play, or do something, some sort of thing to play, if she doesn't really say anything and she's just sort of thinking it, then, little yarmul. Because cat.
Yes. She's just gonna sit there and, like, kind of look at it.
Are you going to actually spend time here, or are you still wanting to go back?
It's been a little bit while I'm still trying to think of a way to mix and some shirts.
Right.
We'll take time, possibly.
Most people, by this time, they would just sort of shoot me away because I'm weird.
I don't see anything weird about you. She just sits there and yarn. Sir?
Well, besides me being in control of everything here, but... Well, if you're sure you're gonna stay.
Yarn? She's like much like pointing to the whole yard that she like batted over to her.
She looks down at it and sort of smiles and kicks it back your way with the side of her foot.
I'm so easily confused by this.
Because you're a cat.
I'm a cat, I'm a person. Oh, I guess I do.
But you were a cat a second ago.
Yes, I was.
See? Plus, it's also very easy for your mind to get sort of lost here. That's what happens to everybody else, anyway.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with the other ones. I don't think they're way enough.
Well, they don't really know all what's going on, or if they do, they are scared, and I think some of them have tried to leave and it hasn't worked.
Let's see. There's one who's just staring off in space. That's next door. One is just a grumpy old fart. And another one is just a conspiracy lady, I think. I don't know, she's a bit weird.
Yeah.
She's probably spent here. You go too long.
Yeah. So is Tsume actually trying to stay here?
She's actively thinking of okay, what can I possibly do to try to get out of here? But she's still sitting there making conversation with her.
Right. So you're not actively trying to leave, but
I'm trying to think of a way to get out.
Would you think you would, if something came to you and suddenly you had, a vision in your head of a door and a light to walk to, would you walk?
She would probably be a little bit curious.
Well, I'm just using that as an analogy. That's not actually what's happening.
Yeah, but like I said, she would be probably curious about it and be can you see a door?
Okay. So, in that then, I want you to...
Was she going to... She was, saying something about Tsume's at least spending a little bit more time here.
Right, she had basically asked if you were going to spend more time here.
Oh. Okay then.
Roll for me a will save.
Adventures! 14!
Okay. So, you're sort of batting at the little yarn ball that you're playing with. And, you, close your eyes to blink for even the briefest of moments. And you are no longer in said dreamscape.
No! What? How? Where am I?
You sort of wake up blearily. It's very much like a dream, except more sudden for you to wake up, and your body doesn't jerk because your body is still laying down on the little cot thing that you went to sleep on forever ago, seemingly forever ago, and you wake up, and I don't have a token for them, but you wake up and you see above you, as you're sort of blearily coming to and getting more used to the darker room that the layer is compared to the bright sunny day that was the dreamscape. And for a briefest of seconds, you almost think Shiori? Strangely enough. But then you realize it's not. It's someone who, I don't wager you that Tsume actually met her, but it's you realize that it's not Shiori because the hair's all wrong and it's sort of graying with age, and you also see that she has her eyes are completely closed, but she is clearly looking at you, even as if through the eyelids instead of.
Can I move my body? Can I tell that I'm moving my body?
You say can you move, or can you tell your back?
No, can I tell that I can actually move my limbs?
You can. It's like waking up from a very deep sleep. You're just sort of very sluggish for the moment.
So I'm just gonna sit there and look back and be like, bit close?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is she what?
No, she as soon as you are awake and say something, she sort of smiles and then backs up just a little bit, so that she's not overbearing you.
Keep kind of close to the wall. I didn't feel
roll me a listen check.
24, that's much better.
Nice. Okay. So, she smiles as you start to move, and she's just, yes, finally awake.
How long have I been asleep? Who are you?
You don't have to worry about me, child. I am merely
there's a person standing over me when I wake up.
I helped you wake up, as I always do.
As you always do?
I'm the medic here with Mitsu. And unfortunately, sometimes she has those who fall asleep.
At this point, Tsume seems as she's sitting there, she kinda starts feeling close for her back. Specifically, she's looking for the mask.
She smiles again, and she just sort of leans down very slowly, very deliberately, and picks up the bag that's sitting next to the cot, and sets it on the cot. You notice that she is very, she appears to be very aware of her surroundings, even though she's done this whole thing with her eyes closed. Yeah, it is. We wouldn't take that here. It's family here. We have no need for such a thing.
Perfect. Alright, speaking of Mitsu, where's she?
Probably the lab, where she usually is.
Since you don't need me for anything else, right?
How do you feel? As an answer to how you feel, you are... It's very much like a quick atrophy thing where your body was not used to moving, and you're very... It's not necessarily very quick, but basically your body's stiff. Your body can move, but your body's stiff.
Bit stiff. Have the craziest dream, I guess. No, not real dream.
Many people say the same thing. Just take it slow, dearie, and you will be fine.
Okay.
And she's...
And he's gonna, like, get up.
She backs away more, like to get away from the doorway because she's close to... It's kind of in your doorway. Give me a spot check.
Exact same thing as my lesson. 13.
So you, she sort of backs away, and she's wearing this sort of, it's basically kind of like the robe of the Akatsuki from before. It just has a different symbol. I'm not entirely sure what that symbol would be, but she's basically wearing a robe for the Azagiru as well as you can figure, because Tsume's not all that bright, so she could probably come to that sort of conclusion.
Probably, yeah.
But the robe is like very long on her much or somewhat smaller frame, which and it's sort of hung down towards her feet, and with a spot check of 17, you notice that the robe is not touching the ground, but even as she backs up to walk away, you don't really see any sort of shadow or anything on the ground that would apparently be feet. So she almost looks like she's floating.
What's the thing? Who are you? Unvenomous.
My name's not important.
What is it with people and saying names aren't important?
We all have our job here. As long as we do that job, nothing else matters. It's been so long. You have to give an old woman time to remember, dearie. I will come find you, if you wish,
Okay.
to make sure you're okay.
Yeah.
And then she just sort of float walks her way out of the doorway to the room you're in.
Summer's actually gonna, like, walk out and stuff. Oddly remembers where there's, like, a laboratory, I guess? Tries to go find Mitsu.
Alrighty. Okay, so how are you...
Real quick. Is it Ayo?
Ayo.
Ayo. What?
Alright, yes. So, you recall Mitsu's rooms and door. She doesn't have doorways. She just has the like open arch.
Roses.
Yeah, opening archway with roses and things like that. How are you making your way to her, like her lab, as it were? Are you sort of rushing your way there? Are you taking it slow? Are you?
Well, it's kind of, since Augie's still kind of stiff, she's like keeping close to the floor with like a hand on it, but she's like she's giving a good pace, trying not to rush it, but.
Okay. And then when it comes to actually getting to her lair, are you going to, or to her lab, are you just going to walk straight through the archway, or are you going to like stop and knock on the edge or anything like that? You're just going to walk straight through? Alright. So as you walk in, Mitsu is speaking to someone else who is in the room. I am going to right quickly get a thing, because I am smart. This is probably going to explode into a can of worms, but I don't care. And you're the one walking into the room to catch this. So yeah, you walk into the room and you see Mitsu talking to someone else. The person doesn't seem familiar to you, like, at all. But they are just carrying on a conversation with Mitsu that amounts to, do you really want me to go out there and try something? Just, I mean, come on. They've took every person you've sent out down. They even took you down. Come on. The right person, the right power. I need to learn what I can and make sure that these kids are not getting too close too fast. Go.
Too close, too fast.
You actually say that?
Yes. She like laughs.
She sort of bats the person behind her and just go, and poof, they leave. Now I'm sure in character Mitsu or Tsume wouldn't have anything to do with that necessarily. Out of character though, did you catch that?
Yep, I did.
Good. Timing.
It's like kind of figure out what timeline where
Yep.
Anyway.
Alright. So you Mitsu sort of, you woke up.
What? Do you expect me to be asleep forever?
Of course not. I wouldn't have sent her to wake you if I knew that you, if I wanted you to stay asleep. If I wanted you to stay asleep, you'd still be asleep.
Right. So apparently you need me for something since you woke me?
Yes, I do.
What?
Don't sound so happy.
No, I have some words, but I need to have some words with you as well, because I'm curious about what you need me for.
You really are just a kitty cat, aren't you? I have a mission for you.
You expect me to do a mission for you?
I do.
Kill me?
Well, you see, my group has yet to get any real foothold in Nepari. She sort of looks off to the side. He kind of ruined that for me. But I think perhaps you.
What?
What
did she say? I didn't quite get it.
She muttered to herself to the side that he kind of ruined that for me. And then I believe that you, having grown up on Nepari, you would have a chance to, perhaps get a decent foothold. I'm not going to ask you to do anything you wouldn't want to do now, necessarily. And I can't very well send a child to go and kidnap someone, so that doesn't work either.
I'm sorry, what?
But you are young. You are inconspicuous. And
inconspicuous. I guess she repeats and just brushes her hand over her hair.
No one will suspect you. Especially having grown up there. I wish for you merely to do recon for me. That's all. I will give you a means to get here and to where I want you to go.
Right, then how about a trade then? I will do it if you answer a question for me.
What question is that?
Where is Aya?
Her face sort of falters for the briefest of moments. She was very stoic, as it were, there for most of that. But her face falters for a moment, as if she's somewhat surprised. Did you hear that?
Oh, surely you know. People who you give the curse marks come back having crazy dreams, right?
Many have said such.
I met her there.
Really?
It's about 8-ish, 9-ish.
And what do you hope to gain from having such an information?
I made a promise to her.
Really?
Where is she?
You just said it. She's inside the dream.
Her body.
You think you can bring her back? Don't you?
Wait.
That kind, gentle nature, wanting to help a little girl in need. Yeah, makes sense. I didn't expect you to be clever enough to figure it out. But you did.
Well, she did show me a picture of you. See why you like pigtails so much?
Yeah, okay. I get that. She, as she says that phrase, she sort of wrenches her hand into her hair to, like, the pigtail on the left and just gets the hair bow off of that side. So now her hair just sort of sparked to one side. Look.
I like it when you wear pigtails. I was really happy when I told her you
Yo's dead. She's not coming back.
No, she's dead. If she was dead, she would have taken her dream.
Tsume,
Hmm?
listen to me. You're not to worry about Io. We'll save.
I made a promise I intend to keep.
We'll save.
Oh my gosh. With 14, everything I'm rolling so far is plus 7.
Well, it is +7 because it's all your things are +7 currently. You feel her gaze sort of pushing you to not mention that name. It's not like it's going to give you pain necessarily for you to say it. She's not putting like the seal of don't say this word, don't say this name or whatever. But her gaze is basically suggesting to you, doing the suggestion thing via curse mark of don't say that name around me from now on, kind of thing.
As soon as it sounds like grumpy at her.
Now, I will give you something for doing this mission for me.
Oh.
Yes. And she sort of wanders over towards her little, like, area with beakers and vials and things of that nature. And she picks up what appears to be a capsule or a pill of some kind. And she holds it in her hand and looks to you, and she's... Now, you read up a little bit on the curse mark before you fell asleep.
A little bit.
Did you ever read about the Death God pill?
I've assuming only read just like a general gist of the book of basically what it's about. So, like, would she have picked up on that or not?
Probably the name and how it has an association with the,
It had something to do with the first part. She didn't really pay attention.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
The name was mentioned in the book, but other than that.
Alright. Name sounds familiar.
Yes. You see, the curse seal, as it has been dubbed by many, the curse seal is exceptionally powerful and can give people extra reservoirs of chakra to make use of various attacks and jutsus. There is a second stage. A stage that manifests a transformation of sorts.
So,
if you're anything like your mother and what she described, you wish to gain power. Powerful.
I should become stronger to defend my team and my home and family.
Yes. This power can give you that. And unfortunately, the Death God pill is very dangerous and takes a great deal of time to put together. And I have so few of my followers to wish to make use of it that I only put it together in very special circumstances.
How long have I been out? How long have I been out?
You spent some time in the summoning world.
Yes, I know the time is different here, but still.
For me, you were out for probably, best I can figure, I'm not the best at measuring time anymore, roughly only 36 hours. Which is pretty good. But you didn't pull yourself out, so that's not really a display of power.
Well, obviously I knew something. Who knows? Maybe I was actually trying to figure out a way down.
I wonder. I do wonder if you're strong enough to pull yourself out. Maybe we'll have to test that.
But I already told you I will do the mission in return for this.
Good.
Answer.
Answer.
To the question I asked you? Like, Tsume wants to say, but she's like...
Right, yeah. If you're wanting to make sure that her body is safe, then yes, it is. What, do you think you could travel, you could do something with the physical form here before you travel to the world again and then something? No. It doesn't work that way. If it did, I would have Io back a long time ago.
Well, she didn't want to leave. She's so pretty now, so many powers.
Of course. And you think you would be able to pull her away?
I don't know if I can do them, but I will sure in hell try.
You don't even really understand, do you? If you brought Io back now,
What, so that she can see how evil you've become?
she, as you say that, she like slams her hand against like a bunch of her beakers and just shatters them.
Somebody's just like, kind of just like raised an eyebrow and just like from smiling.
It's not my fault.
What is it?
Come with me. And she just grabs your
Get me off on the bitch now.
You actually say that.
Yes.
She is only slightly amused, but you cannot tell.
She's like, head still moving, so she doesn't really care.
Yes. Going over here. So, she goes over to this room that she tried to get into before it was locked. The sand wall door. And she just sort of snaps her fingers and gets a seal on her hand. Like it's almost similar to that of a paper bomb. But it's actually not a paper bomb, it's not the same seal. And then she just pushes it to the sand, and then the sand that's over the door.
Would it have anything to kind of do with the wall?
Are you asking that, or are you?
Yes, I'm asking. Anything to do with the sand wall?
You are so very curious. What do you think?
Yes. Well, we know the big giant wall. What do you?
So, I can now reveal this room.
Emptiness.
You're revealing it in a very particular way so that things are not all seen all at once. And then, boop.
Hey! You should around here somewhere.
Also, it's very, very dark in here.
Like everything else is dark here.
Yep. Alright. So, you're back here, away from the bed itself, and it is somewhat dark. But you can clearly see long, blonde hair and a form of some sort in the bed cot thing.
She kind of like interested. Like she's in there, like I don't say wiggling, but she's like kind of like looking around, like shifting a bit to like see if she can get a better look, but not really stepping in closer.
So, spot check. That's what that sounds like.
Huh?
I said that kind of sounds like a spot check.
It does.
Roll more of those +7s, please.
Yes, just all the +7. 22.
Okay. Yeah. So, are you looking? Are you looking specifically for something, or?
I'm just seeing like what details I can actually, more details that I can make out of blonde hair and a pink hair on the back.
You are able to very easily grasp that if this form that is on the bed is not small, it's not a child. Also, you also see that there are seals of some sort that are placed along the edges of the cot itself. Like, part of the reason why the room is so dark and yet you can still see a form with blonde hair is because the seals that are right around the cot are actually giving off a soft glow, so there is a low light over where she's at. It's more than the other lights in the room.
So I'm gonna look up into the bag. Is it closer?
She almost resigns and just sort of backs away and gestures in that direction.
So I just want to step a little bit closer, but not touching anything, because she's not quite sure what the seal is. She's close to her.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the features are of Isla, right?
As best as you can tell, it the person in the bed looks very much like I am, but much older. Much older. You see the blonde hair that's reminiscent of Io, and the eyes that are very much Io's. Other than that, kinda can't tell, because the person on this bed looks to be about Shira's age. And, alright. You gonna say anything?
It's just not like kind of like guys look over and shut it. When do you want it out?
You notice that as you've been looking here, Mitsu has not actually looked towards the bed at all. But she looks to you as you walk past. Do you feel that you would need any sort of provisions or supplies? You're not going to be traveling for very long. Especially if you make use of your tactics to move very fast. I unfortunately can get you close, but not as close as I would like. That path has not been opened yet. If you don't wish to gather anything, and you are ready. And she says this as she's walking back out this way.
Yeah, she's following. Assuming she's not following.
And as you walk past the doorway again, she puts her hand against the archway and
so what can you tell me about this reformation?
Have you ever been, and she's saying this as she's continuing to walk back, on Nepali, your home continent, have you ever been to Holio?
Have I?
You have, actually.
I have? No?
Way back at the beginning. You had the town that you went to, that you reconned, that, was right before...
There's the kid in the well.
You had that one, and then you had, hang on, let me look at my Naruto Stuff's notes. Because I have it. I know you went over there.
I know we went north first, they were like that back, and then we went over to another place to do more recon, which had all the sleepy people in it.
Right. Yeah. Tadahashi is where you went first. And then... So yeah, Holio was where you, you at one point you were attacked by a rogue ninja from like the water, and
yeah, that was up to the north town with the snow.
Yeah, the Tadahashi and Holio are both areas with snow. It's just one town. Holio was the town that had like more warmth. It was surrounded by snow, but the town itself was not covered in snow, strangely enough. Whereas Tadahashi had snow in the town itself. And in Hulio, all you really did was drop off the rogue ninja, speak with the Kage there who said you could stay, and then that's actually where you first had heard rumors about a criminal organization known as the Yazagiru. Oddly enough. So, yeah, you have been there before. But that was a good while back, and I don't know if Tsume would recall as much of it as before.
I don't know, she probably knows of the town, just can't remember what.
Yeah. And she just sort of she's silent, and then she's, now, I'm trusting you. I'm sending you back to the island your own village is on. You could escape, you could go away.
I promise.
You did. Now,
What is this refund about?
I want you to go into Hulio and see if you can find out if they've gathered any more information concerning the things that I've done. The Yazagiru are things that the Yazagiru did, especially on Nipari, are not necessarily what I have done.
Just specifically find out what they know about what you've done.
Find out if the Holy Hokage has been made aware of kidnappings that are not of younger kids, but more of powerful ninjas. And if they know of anything about mysterious occurrences around the various summoning portals.
About the simple partners.
I'm sure you know.
And Summer like stops and is actually like glaring at her because she's like, look, she's a person that likes summoning creatures very much.
Mm-hmm. There are things about summoning portals that the creatures that live there won't even begin to tell you. And I have been learning and investigating, and I've gotten control of at least 2 on Nipari.
Once you can take over and build a base like this?
No. I like the creatures on these too much.
The bunny people, this is the rabbit world, right?
And then I should have pushed to have something happen to her, so you disobeyed. But yes.
So you can see, she's a little bit more helpful. You don't push her.
She's only helpful because she thinks that Shiori, or you, or even Ryan, could do something. And if you're under my control, what can you do?
Should find a way.
Regardless, I want you to go to Holio, speak with the Kage there, and see what you can find out.
I'm gonna ask another question then.
You notice that she's sort of running her, remember when she shattered all the beakers and vials and things?
Yeah.
Before? She's running her fingers along the, this is just even as you're talking, because you've, at this point, made it back to the, lab itself. And, she, even as you're talking, it's almost as if it just is second nature to her and it doesn't bother her in the least. She is, like, moving the using her fingers and running the blood that is along her wrist where she shattered all the vials. And she's running it into, and sort of draining it into a very small little vial. And then as she's moving her fingers across the cuts that are bleeding, there's no cuts.
Since you want this to be a main fun,
Hmm?
how many want like to forge? Forge paper.
What do you wish to forge?
Mission assignment papers.
What village do you...
want me to talk to the Kage and find out information about your organization? Well, there's ways to have mission parameters. This showed that it's actually my questions were actually the kids, and they won't submit the question.
Indeed. Well, smarter than I give you credit for. And she goes over to one of her, like, little... It's not exactly a cabinet, it's more like just a small little chest. And she pulls out, documents for mission parameters. And you notice that the seal that is on... Actually, yeah. Give me a ninja lore. It's going to be pretty easy because you actually have seen it before, but I'm going to see if you recognize it.
Do I even have ninja lore?
You should.
I do not.
Well, you have Streetwise. That's the knowledge you have.
So which means my ninja...
Your ninja lore is
would
int.
actually be a +1.
Yep. Well, it's not +7. Maybe you won't roll a 7.
A 10!
Well, as I said, you pretty much had a decent chance of getting it because you have seen it before. And 10 was where I set the DC, so. You recognize that the paperwork, that the seal that is on, the forged documents, is very similar to the one that you saw on the ninjas in during your Daiju mission, where you met up with Kadia before. Now it's not the... You know you remember seeing that symbol from then, but you're not entirely sure if it's the symbol that was in town or the symbol that was on the people that you were fighting that weren't from that town. You can't remember. Because you recall when you went and investigated the like watchtowers or whatever, you found...
There was a lady that had a different headband.
Yeah. You found...
The guy that was there who had the headband of that village, but was not a thief and was running away.
Yeah, exactly. which the girl that was asleep that you found was Mito from before. So you're not entirely sure if it's the headband that Mito was wearing or if it's the headband of the people in Daiju, but you do remember that you saw that headband, that style of headband, in the village where you met Kadea. That's kind of what you remember. So, yes. And she hands you paperwork from there. That should suffice. And I would probably give that a good read, not just a skim, so that you're aware of what all the parameters say, so that you can speak to Kage properly.
So do you have like an additional code playing around in the hood?
She gestures her head towards the room next door to the lab that has like all manner of conspicuous clothing and the like. Now, when you're ready to go, I wish for you to cast the easiest way that you have to get there is to cast a summoning jutsu. And then she has a little slip of paper that she shows you, and she says, rather than casting a summoning portal as you would normally do it, you are to cast a summoning portal using this pattern, and she hands you a pattern that's different from your tiger one. And rather than biting your thumb or cutting your hand to use your own blood, use this. And she hands you a vial of blood. And then after that, she hands you a second vial of blood. And the second vial of blood that she hands you is marked with a little it's basically like a little vial with a label on it. Mm-hmm. But the label is so tiny that it's not entirely easy to figure out what the label actually is. But it's not a blank vial, as opposed to the one she handed you first, which was blank. The blank vial here will get you to where you need to be. And then once you're done with your recon, simply leave the village, find some place hidden, and use the one marked, and summon again, and then you'll come back here.
She's gonna put Tsume's gonna put the files and look at the symbol on the paper and study it a bit.
On the second vial, or the
paper for the summoning symbol.
Oh, yeah.
She's done it for a minute.
You don't really know what kind of creatures it would summon. You're not entirely sure.
She's just like studying how the symbols are and what they look like.
Yep, and how different they are from the ones that you use for Tiger.
Yes.
Alright.
I guess it's just what?
Forgot to mention.
Mm-hmm.
If you do enjoy making use of that summoning, and if you're talented enough to summon your first go-round, don't be afraid if you get into trouble to make use of my blood a little bit more. Okay?
She kind of like just squints her eye at it. She's like, this is a recon, so I'm trying not to get in trouble.
You never know. I would advise to make sure you don't grab the one with the label, though. That's only used to bring you here.
I think what else would be? I should be pretty much ready to go then.
Think you can take care of yourself? And not get distracted?
I'm trying not to.
Good. You are free to go.
So Tsume goes and finds a cloak.
Yep.
Oh, real quick, she pokes her head back up. Do you want me to do the summoning thing to leave inside or outside?
Inside.
Okay. Tsume goes and gets a cloak and puts it on, and she's gonna actually take the mask out and actually put the mask on.
I figured.
Yes, and she's going to take the non-labeled pile, attempt to summon herself back.
So do you have?
What?
You do not. Craft calligraphy. Okay, that's fine. I want you to do for me summoning, as you would normally, except you're not going to have the bonus of your mastery. So it's just straight ninjutsu for summoning.
And I won't have my ranks?
You would have your ninjutsu would be full. It's just you're not going to get your bonus that you got on casting and summoning with mastery. So that, what, plus 3?
To the plus 3?
Yeah.
Summoning? I won't get that? Okay.
Right.
So just some normal.
Yep.
Well.
Good to go. And you use the vial from the
non-labeled one.
Non-labeled one. Yeah. Okay.
Like she said.
Good.
Real quick. When I get there, can I read over the paperwork? Or can I say that I put the paperwork before I actually summon myself back?
Well, I am going to put you on the map for where you are. Boop.
So nice. All the way up there.
Yep. You're actually in the forest as opposed to beside it. Now, I will leave this up to you. You could say that you read over the paperwork before you summoned, or you could spend a little bit of time in the forest to summon. However,
either or.
However, one thing I would like to point out: when you summon yourself, you see that same sort of dimensional doorway thing that you ran out of before.
Oh yeah, but on the other continent.
Yeah, that same sort of dimensional doorway is right, not even 5 feet from where you are. And standing, actually, give me a spot check. Now think about it.
Yeah, the 7's come back.
And the 7's come back, yep.
Lucky 7.
Yep.
Nope. I don't even notice.
Okay, never mind.
Standing there, reaching in the pattern, pulling up paper.
Alright. So, how long are you going to spend looking over the paperwork to make sure you got it down?
Probably 5 minutes. I think I would be able to get all the information off of it and stuff. I'll be remembering.
Okay. So about 3 or 4 minutes into your 5 minutes, you hear a sort of very guttural voice that's, yeah, you're in the right place. Move on.
She like looks up like the face at that.
And you look and realize that the voice came from the direction where the summoning portals were, or is. And you see what can effectively be described as a lizard man. Like, think, hang on, there was a token for it that was a very good representation.
Question. The town that I'm supposed to be going to, is it the green one or the red one?
It's the red one.
Okay.
Think, that.
Oh. Okay. Like, I think you're done in the right place. But I was not checking to see if I was in the right place. Okay.
Yeah, you're good.
Just walk over here. Looks like she like moves away.
The lizard guy actually gives you a sort of like the little 2-finger half salute, which he does, and you realize that he only has 3 fingers.
I guess Tsume like raises her hand like back. She's like slightly confused, but
Yep.
she's just like, I guess she's gonna start like walking. She's like finish looking for the paper.
And as you continue walking, you hear like the brambles and bushes of the forest sort of rustle very loudly as the lizard guy tail twitches and just like knocks over a bunch of branches, and then he disappears back into the portal. Oddly enough, for purposes of where you are, you are in a forest, and you can look sort of through the trees, and you can look out, and you can see that this area around you is very snowy, which helps you to realize that you're up north where there's lots of snow. But in the forest that you are still in,
No snow.
there is no snow, and it is somewhat. It's not necessarily hot. It's not necessarily hot, but it's much hotter than it should be for being in snow.
Yes.
And there is no snow on any of the trees.
Yes.
There's no snow falling anywhere, but the edges of the. It's like as soon as the snow gets to the tree line, no snow, just gone.
Interesting. It's magic.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody's gonna be heading out of the forest and leaving her way to Julio.
You leave the tree line. Now, I don't know if Tsume actually had a map. Does she have a map?
I'm not sure.
Either way, you would have probably been given a map.
Most likely.
So, yeah. How are you going to make your way to Alia? Are you going to...
She's gonna dash there.
So you're not really... You're not necessarily going to overexert yourself to get there, but you're just going to just full on run. Kinda.
Yeah.
Are you going to, like, all fours run, or are you just running run?
Oh, that's right. I could do quadruped and then run in like no time.
Pretty much.
Closeness.
If you don't get sidetracked by something, you would easily get there in like Okay, you would get the full distance from here to here if you went this way, like across the water.
But I don't think I'm actually going to go across the water because I don't trust the ice.
Yeah, there's ice. If you went around, then you're looking at probably changing a trip of what would be like probably 5 days normally to go all the way around that.
That's 50 feet right here.
Yeah, based on the map, but this map isn't the scale on this thing. So you, because I normally had you travel from Daiju to,
It took us a couple of days.
yeah, I normally had you,
I think it took us a day to the first river and then a day to the second, and then we made it.
yeah, it's like 3 days travel from Daiju to Hulio. So
Yeah.
you're basically, Daiju to Hulio this way is 90, so you're looking at, instead of 3 days, like 2.5, but you're cutting that 2.5 down to like barely a full day. You would get there just, if you dashed the whole time and didn't get distracted by anything, you would probably get there by like nightfall the following day or something, or nightfall that day that you ran from the forest.
Yeah, so it all depends if I get distracted or not.
Yep. But that's the tactic of where you're going to be going and how you're going to be getting there. So, cloud of snow, anyone? Because, you know, a car traveling at like 45, 50 miles an hour in snow throws up snow. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
I think that's about how fast you're going. Now, granted, if somebody was watching you or seeing the snow cloud, they wouldn't see just necessarily just a blur. They would see something.
It's just like close to the ground. It's funny.
Yeah. Alright. So, that is the tactic you're going to go then. Alright. So you get probably just about here or so. And I want you to do for me a spot check.
For the sevens.
All about them sevens. 8, 19. Interesting. Because that matters.
Yeah.
Makes you feel better.
Yes.
Alright. So, yeah. Are you just sort of ducking and running and not really mostly paying attention to what's in front of you and not sort of looking any other way?
Yeah.
Okay. So you sort of see it as you're running. It's like out of the corner of your eye, especially as you're getting to where the ground goes from being snowy to being grass. For the moment, just at like this edge of the snowy line here. Now, whereas the forest was sort of magical and cut off, this seems more natural. The snow just sort of flows, and the temperature's different here. And yeah, okay, it's like you're closer to the equator. Well, granted, I still don't know where the equator would be on this map, but anyway.
Oh, it would be way more down.
Probably. Because you don't have any super hot areas in this map.
Yeah.
Actually, now that I think about it, the desert in Rufane would probably be sitting on the equator.
Mostly.
Yeah. Anyway. So you getting just to the edge of where snow goes to grass, and you happen to see like on the grass alongside you, you see a very large, actually it's not all that large, it's just large enough to see and be obscured. A very round shadow, as if there's something really big above you.
You guys wanna take a chance? Try to like run into maybe like look up.
Look up as you're running.
Yeah.
Okay.
Knowing her luck, she might trip.
You should be fine. Might have you roll reflex depending on how you react to what you are going to be seeing, because you've got a decent spot. Looking into the air, you sort of end up following where the shadow is being cast from, and it indicates for you to look towards this edge of this mountain here. And now it's a good distance away to imply that whatever you're looking at would be rather large to be able to cast a shadow that you could see from like 50 feet away.
Yeah.
So you see what amounts to, at least based on what you know, it looks like a frog. A very, very large frog that just has jumped straight up into the air from the top of that mountain.
Okay.
I'm assuming that's Tsume's response of okay.
Like, just get to see all kinds of things on this trip. Let's find out some frog?
Yes. So, roll for me a reflex. If you look up and you see frog.
Yay, it's not a 7.
Well, yeah, your reflex save better not be a 7.
It's a 15.
Nice. 8's better than 7. But you rolled a 7.
Still rolled a 7.
All the 7s.
Now there's always a 7 somewhere.
Every time you roll something that's plus 7, you'll be rolling whatever. But every time you roll something that's not plus 7, you'll always roll a 7.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I guess it just means you're lucky, because 7's lucky. Anyway, so 15, yeah, you sort of almost stumble as your paws that where your hands are going from grass to dirt, but you right yourself pretty quickly. And then as you're sort of getting your footing back and keeping going, the frog starts to sort of just fall straight down back onto the mountain. And then it sort of gets into back to the mountain, yeah. And then you see the tree line for the mountains. It just sort of, and it's because you know trees and stuff around the mountain itself. And then you just sort of lose sight of it as it gets back into the trees. Now, are you going to keep going to where you're going, or are you going to investigate the mountain and this large frog?
I kind of want to, but she's like on the mission. Is she just gonna keep note of that? Maybe?
Oh yeah, you can. I mean, I'm sure you're going to remember seeing this massive frog. By the way, out of character, you know who it is.
Something to do with the frogs. I want to say, isn't it like the frog mountain?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's my world's variation of Mount, whatever the heck. Yeah, Toad. For purposes of character, because...
I don't know, she just saw a big frog.
Yeah. So yeah, out of character you would know who it is, because it was totally Gamabonta. But anyway. Yes, Toad, frog. But you were keeping your pace and keeping going then. Yes?
Yes, I have. When I get distracted, you're not a bush!
She must listen in. She must know.
You just came all the way up here to tell me that you love me. Really? Wait, you didn't sit there and text me or anything? Interrupting.
Well, hey, at least now, whenever she goes back and listens to the re-record, she'll be able to place when this exactly happened. Because I won't edit that part out, because that was kind of cute.
That's all she did. Just like, come up here.
Alright. So you're going to keep pace and continue on then?
Yeah, so I am taking notes.
Oh yeah. It's not very easy to forget. Oh, by the way, giant frog. Alright. So you are making your way there. Now, as I said, you are going to be coming to Hoyo based on how quickly you are moving. You're going to be coming there towards the later part of the day, towards like probably maybe 9, 10 kind of time. Even as you get closer, your sort of keen ears pick up on there's a lot of noise and
they saw a giant frog jumping, so party.
Not quite, no. They would have had to have some sort of crazy super sight to be able to have seen the frog from where they are. So, I mean, they might have saw a blip in the sky if any of them happened to look up and in that direction, but as far as being able to discern that it was a frog, yeah, no. But you're making your way there, and
I'm slowing down as I get closer.
I would assume you probably would slow down as you're starting to get closer. Yep. It is very sort of loud, and there's like some sort of something going on, and you notice that there are also flags that are up that are sort of posted on the higher buildings of the village itself, and there's something very important going on right now. You see when you get closer to the front gate itself that there are 2 ninjas, what appear to be ninjas, that are guarding the gate. But other than that, the gateway, the door itself, is wide open. It's not really closed or anything like that. It sort of appears as if you could just sort of walk in, and as long as the guards don't think something is off about who walks in, they'll let whoever walk in.
I don't think there's anything off about me.
My question is, are you actually wearing it?
Yes.
Okay. What does your mask actually look like? I mean, I know it's an ombu mask, but what is the... I would assume, yeah.
It's like painted, it has actually orange stripes on it, just like a few stripes on the sides and stuff.
Alright. So, yes, it is very colorful here, because the reason I say that it is colorful is because all of these icons that are not, like the icons like this, all of these icons are people that are in the village and in the immediate area. And essentially the way I grouped them, it's village sort of symbol like this means it's a person who looks very much like a ninja. And then symbol like this makes it's just a person. And blue, yes, blue is a person who looks, long hair, looks very feminine. Orange is a person who is male and looks very strong and masculine. Some maybe even look like fishermen. And then the ones here, like this one, are ones where you kind of can't tell at a glance. Maybe it doesn't necessarily mean that they're like the non-binary, or maybe they're robed in such a way that you can't tell, or something like that. They just don't look necessarily like a ninja at a glance, nor do they look like your typical villager who's more used to the area.
Yes.
Yeah. And so you're coming in and you're actually wearing your Ambu mask over your face.
Yeah, and she has her cloak on and stuff, but her hair is still wild.
Yep. When you started to slow down, did you come out and then drop quadruped? Okay, I figured. So yeah, now granted your hair is going to be, and it's probably a little more so because you've been running this whole time.
Well, if it kind of swept back a little bit, it's still
sort of disheveled. Yeah. So you come in and there's this big collection of people, and you can see them in town. And there's slight music. It's sort of grown down now because people are starting to turn in. There'd actually be a lot more people out and about if this was much later in the day. And you sort of approach with the mask on, with your disheveled hair, and that's about it. Yes? So this particular guard here sort of steps as you're coming through the doorway, and he sort of looks you over and... Do you have business here?
Yes.
What he sort of eyes your masks more specifically, and then he's a little small to be an Ambu.
I may be short.
Yeah, I can kind of tell. Well, let's see. Are you wearing or displaying your headband?
Nope. My headband is away.
Your headband is totally, completely away.
Yep.
Alright. Alright, well, he sort of looks at his partner beside him, and partner just sort of shrugs. And he's... Alright, you can come on in. Just stay out of trouble. I'll let the Holokage know later that we have a... Give me a listen. Right, yeah, you're fine. Give me a listen check, actually.
Looking at this, I should know what the heck it is.
I know, right?
Just have it.
As is everything else.
15.
Okay, yeah, that's good. So you sort of hear this guard mumble as you pass by, and he lets you through. And he just says it under his breath. And he's... What a task to get on your first day. Okay. And then he goes back to his post. Yeah. Yep. It means whatever you think it means, or whatever you think Tsume would think it means. I mean, she could just ignore it and move on, because it doesn't necessarily concern her, but... Or she just could upfront ask. Or perhaps another option.
Yeah, she's just gonna sit there and kind of, like, look back at me. Did you say something?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yep, wonder.
Out.
So, coming into the town itself, and sort of looking closer around, you see over here is the big larger buildings that you sort of come to see as usually being inns or kage houses or various things of that nature. You have a bunch of smaller houses back this way, a little shop over here. People, other ninjas moving about. All the ninjas that you see that are milling about are wearing headbands fully up front and personal that match the sort of smaller symbol that's up on the flags that is essentially the symbol for this village. It's pretty easy for you to grasp that in wandering around. Yeah, also over this way, what this is, it's sort of... I'm going to use something that totally does not exist in this world as an example.
It's one.
Not quite. You know how, like, when I say a mosh pit, for like a big festival or a big concert or something, it's sort of like that, and in the center, this part here, obviously, is what is essentially a fire pit. And it is casting off a big source of light in and around this whole area as it's starting to get dark. And the reason the ground is so much more different here is, whereas what you're walking on appears to be, you know, padded stone, or the type of ground that you would normally associate with a village that's built by ninjas and other people, the ground where that mosh fire pit thing looks very, like, uneven. It's almost like there's this sort of it kind of looks like what would be the result of like freshly made land, as if lava and stuff has hardened and is now turned into a very sort of uneven and uneven and irregular ground, basically. It's basically, think of what lava would be when lava hardens down and becomes land, and it's sort of just that uneven, sort of bumpy, rocky, sort of molten rock kind of effect.
You guys really like want to find someone? I just don't wander over here and be like, spaceman, God, I gotta
I love your, like, Tsume trying to not have the same voice.
Yes.
That's freaking adorable. Anyway. It seems, yeah, it seems very in character and very, reasonable, but that kind of thing's hard to do. That's impressive. I like that. Anyway. Reminds me of Dodger. So, yeah, you wander up to this lady here. She looks to be probably mid to late 20s, maybe early 30s, you're not quite sure. She's wearing garb that's really nothing like any kind of ninja of anything. It actually looks similar to that of a gown or a dress. Though it's not so much about being formal and being classy as it is being about, this is a festival, this is something you want to look nice for. And she sort of looks in your direction as you ask that, and she's eyes you for a second, and at first she starts to say something, and then she notices your mask, and she's, oh, you're Amba, you're ninja. Oh, don't you know what's going on here, then? That's... that hair I could understand. Well, this is, what's known as the, Atachikara. It's a festival that we hold every so often here in Holio, and, basically to welcome the new, village leaders once the power has been transferred.
Wait, so I could assuming what kind of guess where the fucking place is, right?
It's probably this, based on the area around you, is either this big building here is either an inn or the Kage house.
Okay. Oh, right. What do I have to do? Oh, let's see. Thank you. Like she wanders off.
And then as you start to leave, she sort of holds her hand and is like, oh, wait, do look into, getting some of the, dessert that Rune's got going on over there at the item shop. They always have some great food at these festivals like this. You look kind of hungry.
Wait. How can she tell?
She's guessing. It's based on the sort of disheveled look and the honestly, it's two things that makes her think that. One, she's sort of got a mama bird personality anyway. Two, it's the disheveled hair. And three, it's the sort of gravel that you put in your voice to try to disguise your voice. She feels as if that is not something that's normally there, that possibly means you might be a little bit dehydrated.
First things. Sure, why not? Let's go over to the shop. Okay, this way now.
So you make your way over to the shop, and as you do, I don't actually have a token for the shopkeep. It would probably be one of these other female tokens, so I'm just gonna put one there. Boop. But you come over that way and you see a sort of younger man. He's, or not younger man, rather younger woman, she is just talking to the shopkeep and getting some of the dessert, and then she sees you walk by, sort of raises an eyebrow and is like, interesting. And then she just sort of moves on and walks up this way. So you're going to approach the shopkeep then?
Yes.
And she's like, well, hello, welcome.
Thank you. What do I see?
Basically, it looks kind of like a bakery. There's a lot of pastries and desserts and various things of that nature. It looks like a lot of them have been gazied up to look a little bit more presentable, but yeah.
So it's just gonna be like if she looks over the map, she'd be like, yeah, but this is good. I assume so. It's gonna have some money on it.
Well, yeah. Mitsu didn't take your coin purse or change purse or whatever various thing. I assume that for Tsume, instead of being a frog, it's like a little tiger head thing because it's adorable.
Yes. Right. So I'll be like, anything to drink? And she's like eyeing pastries. Which is like, it's like visual obvious that she's looking at the pastries.
Yeah, even with the mask.
Yes.
She has what essentially would be water. I'm not entirely sure what sort of fancy or more interesting drinks that the Naruto world usually has.
Okay, that's fine.
I mean, I guess, yeah, if we've been established that there's coffee in this world, she probably has that, being a bakery.
Yeah, she does. So okay. Just kind of picking up the pastry again. She's bored.
Well, considering Sume's got some decent wealth going, she probably keeps a decent amount of money in her coin purse. But then again, since you... Yeah, then again, if she keeps a reasonable amount of actual wealth, she probably doesn't carry a lot of money in her coin purse. But regardless, it's easy enough for you to buy something to eat. And something for you to nom on, since you haven't really ate anything since, like... I don't even know how long ago. Yeah, you are. You probably Tsume in character just realizes that now. Because technically she was teleported to the summoning realm and then stayed there, probably didn't really eat anything there, but in that world it's a little different. And then in the Akoma for a while, and then she gets back out, and then she comes back here. So yeah. You're essentially at what would be the back of the building. So yeah, because door. There's a guard that's posted nearby. He's not actually right at the door. He's just more sort of near the door. And he sees you walk up, and he's eyeing the mask that you got going on. And he's... If you have business with the Hokage, you have to wait until the festival is complete.
Well, this big complete. Because she's still sitting there, like, she's like looking at them with like, it's got the hair and the cloak, and also like pastry out of the armor.
And you notice that this guy is, though he's dressed like a ninja, he has the like Jonin vest and things of that nature. He is very, very sort of, he has an air of prim and proper about him going on. He's very much a sort of like Watson-y or Butler kind of character. And he's eyeing...
She's like sitting there holding her pastry and
hopefully, and he sort of looks, not leaving where he's standing, he sort of looks back over towards the fire pit thing, and he looks over in that direction, and he's hopefully within the next night or two. I would hope. If you do not wish to wait that long, you can speak with the Kage themselves. They won't be hard to find, though you will have to travel into. And then he sort of looks again towards the fire pit, and you can see that there's this. It's very clear, even to Tsume, who doesn't necessarily have the best perception of people. This guy does not hide this expression very well at all, considering the kind of person he is. There is a discernible look of disgust as he looks towards the fire pit.
What's wrong?
Yes. He just sort of shakes his head and no. Like I said, if you wish to speak to him directly, you may do so. You will find him in there.
Fire?
He sort of raises an eyebrow and looks at you and...
No, I think wait.
Yeah, basically, the way that the little mosh pit kind of merged.
So the Kage is comments on that mosh pit area.
Basically, yes. He's based on how this guy described it, he's somewhere in amongst the crowd of people that are in the...
Oh, he must be somewhere in the crowd, so I get it.
Either that, or he doesn't like the whole mosh pit fire thing either, at all. One of the two. Or there might be something else there. Sume's not necessarily smart enough to discern that. She just knows that he doesn't like the fire. He doesn't like the fire area.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm debating whether or not I should keep a mask on.
It's up to you. I mean, people are giving you some interesting looks based on the mask. So.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna like try to take just like inside something like I don't know, go someplace where there's like not much people. Just not like take the mask off. But maybe this wasn't a good idea.
You're trying to sort of stealthily get rid of the mask without other people noticing?
Yeah, just like maybe not. Yeah,
roll for me hide. You do have it.
Hide?
Hide, yeah. Because you're trying to get out... You're basically what you're doing is you're trying to get out of sight of other people, and there's a lot of people in amongst this crowd. So, you're trying to get out of sight of other people to take off the mask without somebody actually seeing you take off the mask. Granted
17.
Granted that there's not a whole... Yay, all the sevens. But, at the same time, you gotta remember, and I don't know if Tsume would make this connection, but not so many people around here are going to have that same sort of disheveled hair look, so...
Yeah, I know, that's the only downside.
But yeah,
Like, I'm wondering into an area.
this is true. If you go into the mosh pit type thing, if you go into that area now, people not necessarily going to wager that you're the same person that was wandering in earlier unless they were up there in amongst it too.
Yeah, so, yeah, she's just check the mask over she's done.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And just wander her way over to the boat and
Yep. By this point, the music has sort of died down completely, and some of the people who had been out and about, at least up top anyway, have sort of moved on. But everybody that was in the pit is still in it as you wander in. Nobody's wandering up to come out. And it is very much warm in near this fire. You wager very much that the ground of this area is very uneven. It's sort of like the ground is still hard. It doesn't appear to be ground that has been dug up or moved around. It just appears to be ground that was sort of laid uneven. If there was ever a time for the ground to be used to use the adjective disheveled when referring to the ground, it's now.
Oh, yes.
Yep. Also, what do you think of the actual ground that I used for that part of the map? Does that sort of help visualize it?
The shovel foot? Yes.
That sort of like uneven, sort of molten type. Yeah. Okay. So, in wandering to the ground.
I know that Tsume is still like wandering around. Like
Oh, so you still have the pastry. Alright. Makes sense. So you wander into the mosh pit of people, as it were. Okay, give for me a spot check. Messing with something momentarily. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you're sort of looking around and, you see that, various different ninjas and things that are in this area, different people. And of the ninjas, it appears that, at least over here, anyway, there seems to be a much older ninja here, probably 50s, 60s, something like that, and there's a bunch of different other people. You got quite the crowd going on. You have this dude over here. I accidentally moved him because I am a derp. You have him over there. He is very, this is strange. He is very square. He's that sort of big, burly looking person with, very squarish shoulders. There's people all over different kinds of descriptions. I just don't want to try to go into big descriptions on different people unless you actually go to them. And then I'll come up with it on the fly because I'm good at that.
So you can't tell what
well, based on, without sort of doing any kind of a roll for it necessarily, based on Tsume's, there'd be a garb to it, and Tsume's best guess would probably be the older guy. Sort of dressed as a ninja, off to the side. You also heard that this was, from the lady before, that this was a festival where it was sort of a passive power. So, if it's passive power, and you're not able to speak to the Kage until after it's done, then either the passive power involves him, or he's the one doing it, or you're not entirely sure. But if it is him, I sort of see Tsume being able to make the leap that it quite possibly could be the old person. That might be either that, or she could clearly talk to one of the people that looks like a ninja, because there's 1, 2, 3, 4 of them in here. the guy you're looking at's got that. He sort of has the hair. You know Shikamaru's sort of up ponytail kind of look thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has hair like that. Yeah, and he just sort of gestures over towards the older man, and he's right over there. Yeah, the old guy. Yeah. Which is this one over here.
Yeah, I'll wander over.
And when you move closer is when you start to realize that this older guy is just sort of in and amongst all the people who are still sort of clamoring. They're not really necessarily noisy. It's not like there's conversations going on. It's sort of more just ambient crowd, basically.
Yeah.
And,
is he got a crowd around him or something? People around him?
not really. He's just sort of sitting and seems to be looking into. Yeah, he's actually sitting on the ground and seems to be looking straight. His eyes are straight into the fire. Even as Tsume wanders up, the camera sort of shifts in such a way that it shows his older face, and he's just gazing into the fire.
Trance of some sort?
Not really.
Or just enjoying the glow?
Basically, yeah, enjoying the glow. It's sort of a just watching the fire burn kind of look. But you need something.
Tsume kind of does she realize it's he's talking to her?
Probably, considering there's nobody else around. Granted, he didn't turn his head from the fire.
And I thought there was
Well, they're further off. They're like a good, well, I guess you're technically the same distance away from them, so. But no one's really looking his way other than you. So. You could assume it's probably you.
Yeah. It's just kind of good puzzle. Yeah. Fine.
For the next little while, yes.
I don't know, I'm actually asking questions, but it's pretty unwanted for me.
To some people it is. I like the people. Yeah. I can't say that I don't. But I just wish I could have lasted longer.
See it for your age, I'm sure not too well.
He flexes his hands, and he's yeah. I suppose I had a pretty good run. Kind of, there's just barely a hint of a smile. If you have questions for me, you can go ahead and ask them. It's not going to ruin or change my mood any.
Not even if it's about. She's gonna ask about
Azagiru. He looks around in amongst the crowd, who no one really seems to be paying much attention. And he just shrugs. The Yaziguru are troublesome. Yes. But in the next few hours, they won't be my problem. So I'm okay answering a few questions about them.
Oh, it's one of everything on like disappearance.
There have been a few disappearances, yes. I've heard.
Alright, I know all I've written down was find out how knows and more information about this exactly. What was it exactly that you wanted me to find out?
The thing that the activities she described that she wanted to know if they were about is various kidnappings and if the Kage knew anything about any weird occurrences or events happening at the various summoning portals scattered about. She didn't give you any information on where those summoning portals are, but she did say that that's what you were looking for.
Sounds like it's about like words or anything.
Of course, the Azagira are still very much at large. Many ninjas have been sent out. Some return, some don't. I know that the Azagira have a better foothold in Ufone rather than here. And I'm glad to know that.
There's probably so many activities around here. Anything like going on with them?
I do know that there have been occurrences that have been reported around the portals.
Like what?
Various fights, people trying to make their way in without any kind of blood pact. Those with the blood pacts here have even discussed it. But there's not really a whole lot I've been able to do as of late.
Once we know where we can find more information.
More information on the portals themselves, or on the Azagira?
The disappearance and more information about the incidents going on.
Well, I would probably ask that, give that question to and then he stops as he's speaking, and a much younger guy just sort of makes his way over here. He's sort of got this, he's just barely older than Tsume. He's probably like, Ryan's age, 18, 19 kind of thing. You see he has what looks like a, one of the, you know, like the bow staff, the Donatello bow staff thing? He has one of those on his back, clearly visible, clearly a ninja, clearly proud to be. And he just sort of walks up and he's, Gramps, come on, let's get on with it. You're the one that decides when this goes. Come on. And the old man, you actually say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so, sure, maybe not, but I'm a little anxious, okay? He sort of raises an eyebrow looking at you and looks you up and down. What would you know about it?
From my experience, being anxious getting into a fight is usually not well.
I'm not rushing into a fight.
No, but you seem like you're rushing into something.
Sort of looks around. You don't know what's happening here, do you?
Oh, I do know.
Really?
Yeah.
So what are you thinking? What's going on? Let me know. And he actually, as he says let me know, he holds up his hand in that sort of come at me gesture.
This is obviously sort of, passion on the torch.
Yeah. Basically.
She clicks his head to the older man. His expression is.
He's actually looking sort of between the two of you as you're talking, and still looking at the fire. So, yeah, it's passing of the torch. I kind of like that. That's a little bit better way to speak about it. And then he looks back to the old guy. Come on, Gramps. You ready or what? I know our friend can't... And he sort of looks at you for a second, and then... I know our little friend can't wait too long. And then... He chuckles. I ain't talking about you. And then the old man starts to actually get up. Wait, what was that? Is she attempting to give it to him? Okay. He smiles and chuckles, and he takes it, and then just sort of noms on it gracefully, and then he walks closer to the fire itself, and this person who's right here moves out of the way very quickly. Alright. And so he wanders up closer to the fire. And then the boy with the bow staff, he sees that he walks closer and actually is... He just as he gestures to put his hands up near the fire, the boy just sort of runs all the way around and goes to the other side. And so what is your... Are you just sort of standing there watching then?
Yeah, she's kind of slightly moving around to view of things and watch.
Where are you going to go to get a better view?
Probably going this way.
Okay. So you sort of just are watching the two of them. And seeing as how you do not have any sort of chakra shenanigans, you can't see, sense, anything like that, they both hold their hands up. They both hold their hands up over the fire, almost as if there is a, this there's a synchronization to how they move, and they're doing what looks like it would be hand signs, or it could be like hand signs, except instead of hand signs with your hands, it's like hand signs with their full body. It's like they're doing poses like Guy does in Sync with Lee, except not as dorky. And with a fire between them. And then once the two have done this pose, went through three or four different poses, they each, in sync, just walk into the fire. And no screams, no yells, anything like that. And they both sort of disappear into the fire temporarily. And everybody who is watching is got this sort of this very apparent anticipation thing going on. What is Tsume thinking?
She's just like, oh, this is okay, this is very interesting. She's just like kind of like it's like phrase like I have to okay.
So you are there and just watching, and after probably maybe 3 or 4 minutes of the two just having disappeared into the fire, there is that, you know how sometimes when fires in movies and things, when something dramatic happens, they do that sort of flare up.
Yeah.
It does a flare up like that, and in the fire you see a face that looks, at first, for the briefest of moments, you almost think it's a human face. In fact, it looks very much like the face of the old man. But then you realize that it's not the face of the old man. It looks more like a monkey face. Looks for being more human. It's like the fire is showing that the way the fire is presented, it looks very much like there's fur and a very primate-like face. And the lips all curled up and things like that. And then it shifts again and goes to the face that looks very much like the young boy that you saw before. And then they both step back out of the pit, or of the fire, and they have now swapped sides. And everyone around is just very awestruck, basically. Most of them seem to know what went down, but some are very sort of like still in awe. And what's Tsume's expression sort of like?
Okay, that was interesting.
Also, it should be noted, the staff that the boy was carrying before, it was that sort of brown kendo staff thing with a ribbon in the middle, and when he comes back out, the wood work to the staff has took on a much more sort of reddish hue. And he seems very pleased with himself. Basically. And if Tsume was to look to the old man on his side, he doesn't appear to be hurt, but he is carrying himself. It's like he's tired, basically. Okay, so what does Tsume do?
I thought Sume's gonna go over this way and so she catch the guy's attention. What?
The boy, basically. I just use the term boy because he's close to Tsume's age. So, what are you doing to try to get his attention?
Seeing if I can lock eyes with him.
Oh, okay. You see as once he's back out and sort of got his footing back, he sort of is looking at his hands, flexing and things like that, and then he looks up and he sees you again. He's like, "Oh."
Just with like an eye right there, like not impressive.
What? Fight about it?
Really not ready to show.
Well, yeah. You don't really seem to know what's going on. Might as well show it off.
Don't be cocky. I'm going to assume you're possibly talking about.
Well, it's the first clue. Him being all weak? Yeah. Yep. You got it. He was ready. I'm not. Yeah, okay. You have a point, I guess.
She just didn't smile slightly.
Still want to knock somebody around, though.
Not you, boy.
And then
There's training
he's flexing again, and there's a moment where he seems to be almost contemplating, but not quite. And then he's right. Yeah. Okay. So, what do you need me for?
I just want to know see how much you know about the
Azagiru. You almost had it right. Oh, them. Let's see. Took a bunch of people. Messed up with the summoning portals. Thankfully not mine. You know. Well, yeah. They tend to take people that are very powerful, or that can. You know, I might have to go through Gramps' old notes to double check on the details. And it's pretty late anyway. How about you?
You're tired?
He gives you this unamused look. Me? No. I'm not tired. I'm probably going to be running around for another couple hours.
Tell me a little bit more.
Hmm?
Then you can tell me a little bit more.
Come into my office then. He just sort of wanders into towards the Kage house over here.
Nice.
And as the people, or as you walk by, people are just sort of eyeing him. Some combination of like gratitude and like there are a few that have a sort of unsure how they feel about it presence to them, but for the most part, people seem to be glad that he's took up the torch, as it were.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going to make your way into the Kage house over here.
Yes.
Actually, on the building to appear in the building. So yeah, you wander in and you see that there's like a string of photos that it looks very much like those, you know, those old line of photos that they have in various movies and things that show like a lineage kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's like that.
Just when everything is like stuff.
Yeah, it's like that. You just see this sort of lineage tree along the pictures, and the pictures show a bunch of older men, mostly men. There's one girl at one point, and then she's goes to the older man that was just outside, and then the picture, the newest picture to that line, is a picture of the guy you're talking to, boy you're talking to. And he sort of smiles as he sees his face in amongst all the rest. And there's probably 5 or 6 line of people. And he just looks at that and goes, okay, so, and rummages through the nearby desk. Aha! Here we go. And he brings out a collection of papers, paperwork type things. And he's, okay, so, let's see. Someone by the name of Mitsu, I believe. Yes, Mitsu. She was kidnapping people, seemed to focus on those who had a great deal of power, great deal of potential. Seems to put a focus on, according to the documents here, those who have the ability to summon and those who have Sharingan. Interesting. And then you have the disturbances at the portals that you were looking into. Yes.
Yes.
Let's see. Yes. The nearby portals for the toads, the boar, still no one's heard of the snake portal any. Was there something specific you were wanting? Just what we knew, or?
Yeah, just what you know.
So, who sent you here then?
She like holds up like paperwork and seal on it, and then just tucks it away.
Ah, yes, of course. I heard that there had been some. I heard that there had been incidents in Daiju recently. Are they doing well?
They're just fine.
Good. Alrighty then. I think you had the right idea, yes. I'm going to test out my powers slowly with the nearby training dummies, and then sort of get some rest. If he will let me rest. Anyway. Toad, Toad, Boar, and though they the basically he said that they've heard of incidents of Toad, Boar, and Snake, but they know Toad and Boar, and they have not heard anything from anyone with the pact with the snakes in a while. So they don't know what's disturbance there. And then he sort of goes through his other.
These are all the portals on.
Yeah. Portals on Nepari that they know of. And then he sort of rummages through the paperwork again. He's like, oh, yes, though it is not a portal here, this portal is on Rufone, but it did appear that we got info from someone from Rufone. Anonymous? Really? Coming all this way to give an anonymous information? Anyway, you want to know summon portals. There are summon portals all around, not just here in Nepari. And apparently there is a disturbance with the portal for the turtles that is on Rufone. Yes. I think that's all that we have heard from, though. Unless Gramps is hiding some more from me here somewhere. He just, yet again, unamused look. Yes, of course you wouldn't know. Regardless, I think that is all you need then. You have a wonderful day. Enjoy the rest of the festival. And so you see the big sort of square looking person. Very big, very burly, and wearing a large sort of thick jacket. And he's just looking at he seems to be looking at the fire just in a very similar way that the Kage was, and then sort of shakes it off and starts to head up out of the pit himself. He goes this way.
So it's just going to like her eyes just like curious.
Alright.
She's actually gonna kind of wander up to him and be like, who's going to this
In. Yeah. He actually, for being the big, burly individual that he is, his voice isn't high, it's just not as low as you would think it would be. And he just looks around and goes, yeah, there's, I think, one over that way, and he points in the general vicinity of this way. To the left, towards the, like, where the bakery was. And then he's... Wait, hold on.
She stopped. Yes.
You're new around here, aren't you? Haven't really seen you around town.
I'm just stopping by.
Cool. Me too. I'm not actually. He sort of puts his hand behind his head. I'm not really from around here.
Where are you from?
I traveled here from Rufone, actually. I'm from across the sea. Yeah. This is my uncle's idea.
Just get out of town for vacation.
He wanted me to see this festival for some reason. You seem familiar. Do I know you from somewhere?
I don't know. I've done a lot of this. I've working on myself.
Oh.
So where am I finding?
I'm actually from, in and around, I'm from a little small village near Gaokutsu. He sort of sees your look and appearance and wagers you're a ninja and would know the ninja village is better than the other villages meandering around, because there's a lot.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. The fire over there is pretty massive. I never really had a bonfire like that where I was a small little fishing village.
Yeah, but that was actually my first time seeing it.
Yeah, I could kind of tell.
So, I'm just wondering if I was from out of town.
Well, yeah, I just wanted to make sure you were... You look kind of small and young for traveling around by yourself.
Thanks.
I don't mean anything by it, I don't.
Well, I didn't know so.
Yeah, I figured. Anyone with that sort of windswept hair, yeah, you gotta be doing something right. What? Your hair's cool. I like it. Yeah. I kind of do that sort of thing myself, actually. Well, not run. I'm not a very fast runner, but I like to swim. Does that count?
Yeah.
And then he sort of looks around and sees that there's very few people in and around where you're at. And he makes a motion to sort of say something much softer, closer to where you are. Are you going to let him get close like that?
She's not just like terrifying.
Well, okay. Sorry, I'm not so good at it, but I haven't exactly been truthful. Okay?
Yeah, exactly.
No, it's true. I've not been around here. I haven't seen that fire. No, of course, you know. But I'm actually a ninja too. I'm just sort of here.
Everybody gets.
Am I that obvious?
So, yeah, who knows?
You know, that's only because of this, what I have on. But
Can't say that. Oh.
that's from Gaokutsu.
Oh. Oh, so he's actually.
Or at least has a headband for them anyway.
Yeah, it's just like. Yeah.
Don't like Gaokutsu?
No, I've been there.
That's where I saw you. Of course. You were there when the crazy ice guy did whatever crap like a month ago, right?
Nice guy?
No. I'm remembering wrong. Sorry. I have a heart. Anyway, yeah, you figured me out. I'm not too good at it. Sorry. Actually, sort of be calm for somebody. He actually smiles at that. For being such a big burly guy, he does have a very childlike manner to him. And he's, actually, yeah. You wanna know why I look so big and bulky? I'm not actually this big and bulky. And he like moves his jacket because he's had this big almost like a trench coat thing going on. And he sort of removes it a little bit, and you see that under his cloak on his back is essentially what looks like a rather large, almost impossibly large, container of water. It's almost like he has a mini aquarium on his back. Around here, it's not exactly easy to come by, so have to. I don't like fire. I'm not a fire user anyway. Give me a listen check, if you would.
Where's the sevens? 15.
Okay. You hear what sort of amounts to sort of like a. It's sort of like the static buzz of. Not that I don't know if Tsume would know what it sounds like, but you as a person know. It's the sound like a walkie-talkie makes, that sort of static sound.
Well, we've seen walkie-talkie.
Well, yeah, I guess technically they would be something that Tsume knows of, but yeah, you hear that sort of walkie-talkie sound, and he's just give me a moment here, okay? He just sort of wanders over this way.
I know something. Yes, maybe I'm going to your projection. See if I can listen in.
Ah. Yes. Let's roll that then. So, let's see here. It's a plus 10 bonus to listen checks and blind sight that extends to 10 feet. In addition, if some complicated pattern of movement is being executed within the range of his blind sight, such as writing or hand sign, the user is able to determine exactly what is being done, including the context of text being written, if any. Interesting. With a listen check DC 25. While the technique is active, however, the sufferer uses a -4 penalty to saving throws against sonic effects. Makes sense. Okay, and 1 round per level, and you're, what, level 8? Wait, no. 9. Okay. Okie dokie. We're probably gonna have to wander closer to get a decent effect off of it, but
yeah, she's gonna kind of like shuffle a little bit. So that's a 17.
bro,
Listen.
yeah, with that active, you have a 17 listen.
26.
Eh. Okay. Okay. So nice. So he's in the nearby. He's over this way, and he's clearly talking into a walkie of some sort. And he's, yeah, I know. I was just talking. Not a big deal. You can't, with the 26 only, you can't really hear what's on the other side of the walkie. Yeah. Now if you'd rolled better, I would say that you could hear the whole thing, but and then he's, yeah, if he was writing anything down, you'd be able to see that somehow, however that works. I guess you recognize the pattern of how the pencil hits the.
I guess.
Anyway, so he just. Yeah. Okay, fine. I'll go. Or well, guess I have to if everybody's leaving. Yeah. So she won't know the difference. It's not like I told her anything. Yeah. Really? Not even give me any time to. Okay, fine. Alright. I'll be there soon. Just keep your shorts on. Yeah. And then he closes the walkie.
But this Tsume is actually like that. Tsume is actually said, I see what they're here. I'm distracted.
Alright, and so he comes back over and he's okay, yeah. I hope you have a good night. I'm gonna have to go, okay?
Well, okay.
Okay.
You weren't doing it for like you provided information about the positive theory.
Did Azikiri?
Yes. Just want to know. Maybe try a little bit of information.
Nope. Don't know anything about the Azikiri. Nope.
Sounds like you do know something.
Hold on. Let's see. What does bluff use? Charisma, I believe. Yeah. Okay. Roll. You do not have sense motive on your person. Wisdom, yeah.
Nope.
Nope. Okay. But yeah, he's I don't know anything about the Azikiri. Nope, not at all. Nope.
Alright then.
You have a good night now, okay?
You too. she wanders off to the supposedly a princess.
Alrighty. So, what did you... This is actually, I think, where I'm going to sort of end it out. I'll let you do the first part and I'll do the last.
Well, this has been Naruto in the World.
Tsume edition.